welcome to Joe Jackin with Bob and TC on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, that's IntellectualRadio.com. I'm your host, B.O.B. Bob, but I will go by the name of Robert Lee or Jr. if you insist on being formal. And as always, from the south side of Chicago, Illinois, give it up for my main man, Mark Teese. TC was Senior.
What up, Bob?
What's up, TC?
What's up? First of all, before we start talking, I want to say what's up to QB. At the little wedding party at Tom's yesterday, but I was at different engagements, so I couldn't make it.
Okay.
But much love, QB.
Congratulations.
Wedding. Oh, yeah. And to Latasha Atkins, much love to y'all wedding, too. Let's put it out there.
What's up? Tell them about your club real quick.
Yeah, I want y'all to come on out, check out the Over 30 Lounge in Linwood, 19755 South Torrance. Come out, have a drink and kick it. Watch the playoffs and stuff.
Also on Tuesday nights at Living Springs Church on 19051 South Halsted in Glenwood, Illinois. We do basketball and beyond on Tuesday nights from 5 o'clock to 8:30. So make sure you bring your kids out, if they're your boys out, and then fifth through 12th grade. And if you want to volunteer, there's some volunteer opportunities open. That's Tuesday nights at 8:30. Anyway, how was your weekend?
It was all right, man. It was cool watching sports, kicking my baby.
You watched the draft, right?
No, I didn't watch it, but I saw the results of it.
What'd you think of it?
Garbage.
White
privilege, all kinds
Oh,
of
my
things.
God, man. Yeah, I was done with this white privilege stuff.
That's how I feel about it.
Right, because we got Trubisky instead of Watson.
Man, I'm going off the facts.
What's the facts?
The facts are, if you put Trubisky and put him in Clemson and look at his stats, look what he done, and put the brother and put him over there in North Carolina 8-5, there's no way they would have drafted him over him.
Wow.
This man only played 30. What? He's 8-5. When Watson and beat Alabama, put up numbers and proved he's supposed 32-3 as a starter. He proved.
But ain't you happy though? We got some kind of franchise quarterback.
We don't have a franchise quarterback.
I'm just saying, when you that close in the draft, you number 2 overall.
We don't have
a franchise
quarterback.
We don't have no franchise.
No, I'm not.
And you got a chance to get a quarterback. Wouldn't you drop everything you're doing to go get that quarterback at number 2? Whether you like Watson or whether you like
you're not finna turn that to that. You're not finna even turn that. You know what? Change the subject. You're not finna turn it to that, Bob. We're gonna address the facts. They picked dude. They didn't want a black quarterback here. They didn't want no confident black quarterback here. Yes, they did. You're not finna tell me.
They didn't like him. He probably was Vince Young.
What was about him you didn't like that you did like about Trubisky?
Vince Young won the championship, but he didn't. You know, I'm just saying. Vince Young.
Ryan Leaf. I mean, what you saying? For every Vince Young, we got a Ryan Leaf. So come on, Bob. I want you to be real, man.
Anyway, the Bears are gone. You know,
nothing justifies that pick.
This weekend, I want to give a shout out real quick to the producer. His name is Jay Davis out in Detroit. I went out to Detroit for a movie screening. It's called Not Another Black Movie. Jay Davis wrote the movie and directed the movie. So y'all want to check it out on NotAnotherBlackMovie.com. NotAnotherBlackMovie.com. It has comedians in it. It has Damon Williams in it. It has Rodney Perry in it, Leon Rogers, Janet Hubert. You know, she played Vivian on Fresh Prince.
Okay.
So she was in it. And my brother was in it. My real brother, Muhammad Orable. He go by the name of comedian Famo. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The movie was really, really funny. It was really funny. My brother gave me the movie about a month ago, and I never got a chance to watch it. So I was glad I went to the screening because I was able to watch it in a more natural setting. And it was really laugh out loud funny. And I just didn't anticipate that, to be honest. I didn't anticipate it to be as funny as it was. You know, so check it out on NotAnotherBlackMovie.com. Jay Davis, cool brother. We went out to have some dinner. Me and my lady we went out there and met them out for dinner. So it was pretty smooth, you know, us trying to support each other. Speaking of supporting each other, we got a special guest in the building today. Man, one of our neighborhood big brothers.
We can't let that pass. We can't let that pass.
Let what pass?
We can't let this pass. 1 second before we bring in his brother Trace. 1 minute, brother. You telling me your
Tracy
brother
Jennings? Let me finish his name.
Your
Tracy
brother.
Jennings.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Jennings. It go back, Tracy, but Tracy Jennings in the building. Give your respect. Come on up here. But I just want to get something straight. Your brother in this movie?
Oh yeah, my brother,
Famo.
Muhammad
Mahone here.
Yeah, he's Uncle Earl in the movie.
Okay,
man.
why he ain't up here?
What Man, come on, man. What did you talking
I'm just
about?
asking why I ain't here.
Man, you know, scheduling conflicts.
Man,
the
man.
man, we just came from.
Hey, Muhammad, we want you on the show. I said.
There you go.
I said, dog. Don't
Anyway, on the other side of this break,
bring you.
Feel free to call in. The call-in number is 708-223-8953. Again, the call-in number is 708-223-8953. And help us present our brother, Tracy Jennings, on the other side of this break. IntellectualRadio.
Dance with me, leave your worries behind. Just let your mind be free. Depend on me, I'll give you all you need. You come out and step with me. And we can take it slow, or however fast you wanna go. Baby, my flow is everlasting. And we can do it all night, sugar. Best believe we'll keep it happening. We go yeah. We go we like to. We go yeah. Let it rug. Yeah. Let it rug. Yeah. Let it rug.
Welcome back to Joe Jackets with Bob and TC on IntellectualRadio.com. Again, a call-in number real quick is 708-223-8953. TC, help me bring this brother in. From the south side of Chicago, Illinois, give it up for our big brother in the game, Tracy Jennings.
What up, man? What's going on, y'all?
What's going on, my man? How you doing, brother?
Man, everything's great. Great to be here, man. Great to see you guys, and I'm just excited. Just excited, man.
Man, I'm excited too, man. First of all, man, when you was talking on the phone the other day, man, you told me about some weight loss you went through. Man.
Yeah.
Say you lost a few pounds, man.
Yeah, last year at this time I was 217 pounds.
Okay.
And now I'm 188. So my goal is I blew past my goal. I thought I was going to just stop at 195, but I'm at 188. Doing good, and so I'm gonna kind of see where I bottom out at.
Yeah, what did you do to lose weight?
Well, I think the first thing I did, I gave up them Oreos, Oreos, and just the junk food, sodas. I pretty much pulled soda out of my diet, but I also each morning, 5 days a week, I eat oatmeal, brown sugar, and almond milk. So I was a bacon and eggs type guy, and pancakes and all that. And then I work out at least 3 or 4 times a week now. And so, once I went back to that, eating right, pulling cheese and different things out, the older you get, a lot of that stuff just don't move no more. And and so, that was what I was doing, and I feel great. I got energy, and I'm just excited to see where it's actually gonna bottom out at. So I don't even
Congratulations.
know. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We gotta, we crack jokes in here, have fun. So I gotta hit you with one.
All right.
The last past time I hate to lose weight, for a minute.
Oh no.
He had a problem. So you okay, right, Tracy?
I'm great.
Healthy, brother,
I'm
right?
great. I'm healthy.
You control right. I ain't gonna say no name.
No, I'm
you control your weight loss, bro. You can stop when you want to, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to hear.
Yes.
Since you brought it up, TC, Pastor, how long have you been pastoring?
This November it'll be 14 years.
14 years.
14 years.
Yep. So what's the name of your church?
Total Christian Life Ministry. We're out in Joliet Township, 421 Patterson Road. You can look us up at totalchristianlife.org. Wonderful people out there in Joliet. Just enjoy that area. Enjoy the people. So it's a joy to pastor this group of people.
How many? What are your service times on
Sunday? Well, we have 2 services on Sunday morning. We have a Sunday school at 9:00, and that's from 9 to 10, and then at 10:30 is morning worship, and that's normally we'll go to about noon. So we're not one of those marathon type churches. We normally beat all the crowds at lunchtime. But yeah, we those are certain. Then on Wednesday nights we have Bible study at 7:30.
Oh, on Wednesday nights?
Yes.
Okay. How many people attend your church?
We have about 150 people
Oh,
on our
that's pretty
church roll, so it's a good group of people. I always say that I would rather go with 50 strong than 500 weak.
Mm.
So a lot of people sometimes get caught up in the numbers of people versus the actual ministry, and our church has really had an impact in our community. So I'll take those people anywhere. So that's the blessing of pastoring this group of people.
I never say I can't honestly say I never knew what I guess your philosophical foundation
Mhm.
of to the fact that you would eventually one day become a pastor.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out what sparked your vision. How were you able to see that that was your destiny to do that type of work?
Well, I don't know if you knew this or not, but my father was a pastor.
Okay, I didn't.
Grew up in church. I mean, when I say grew up in church, at that point in time, we grew up in the apostolic faith, church all day Sunday, Tuesday night, Wednesday, Friday. But it was when I went away to the military that I began to feel a tug in my life. Even though I wasn't, living according to the word of God, I just knew something about what he wanted me to do. And I ran from it for years. I think most people who really have a true calling to minister to other people, first of all, you start looking at your life and say, man, I done did a lot of jacked up things. How am I going to get up in front of other people and try to encourage them? But that's actually, I believe God has a great sense of humor where he takes some of the most jacked up people and have him do his work. And you'll see that all throughout the Bible. But I knew early on, and it just kept happening. Even when I was doing things, as a young man, people would say, "Oh, you're a preacher. You're a preacher." I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Stop saying that." But I accepted it in my early 30s, and I actually started pastoring when I was 35 years old.
Okay.
So yeah.
You married, right?
Yes, I've been married. This September, shout out to my wife, Cynthia Jennings. Me and her have been knowing each other since we was 14 years old. This September, 24 years of marriage. We have two wonderful children. My son Reggie, who's down in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, working on his graduate degree, and to Daddy's baby Tracy Nicole, who graduates in 2 weeks from Northern Illinois, my alma mater. And last week she got accepted to the school that she really wanted to go to for law, and that's Marquette University.
Oh, congratulations!
And so we just ecstatic. So yeah, it's all good.
Congratulations, on that.
Congratulations, man.
Yes,
Thank you.
You got a bachelor's yourself in?
Yes, I have a bachelor's in psychology
and then a master's in
and master's of public administration.
public administration.
Yes.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we was talking on the phone. You was talking about that success is on purpose. I want you to elaborate on that with your, always start from the family structure.
Mm-hmm.
I think no matter what you're doing as a pastor or any type of job that we have,
Right.
that discipline starts from the family structure. I just want you to elaborate on the conversation you shared, and you responded back like, no, this is not an accident. That's on purpose.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I think so many times people think that, like you say, things just happen. Raising my children, and I feel in a godly manner, according to the word of God. And I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, I love the lie. I tell people when they come to our church, if you're offended by laughter, then this is not the place for you, because laughter is a medicine. But raising my children, having discipline, having structure in our home. Our kids had a routine. My wife came off the job. She's a graduate of the University of Iowa, but we decided as a couple that she would raise the children at home. I know that sounds weird to a lot of people, right? But it worked for us. And we always tell people everything that worked for us might not work for you, but it worked for us because our kids, if they forgot their homework, they knew mom was at home. But she just wasn't a stay-at-home mom. She was part of the school board. She was really involved in the educational part of our children. Her degree is actually in early childhood development. So, but just raising them, having that discipline, having that order, where they can come home and know what's going to happen. They had a routine every day, bedtime at a certain time. We didn't expose our kids to certain types of music, certain types of movies, different types of language too early in life. What I always say, we wanted to graduate our children from level to level. And sometimes what winds up happening, people rush their kids into things that they just aren't ready to handle. And it's a lot of, sometimes you'll see a lot of negative results from that.
Mm.
So, seeing the things that we did, God bless, my son played Division I football on scholarship. My daughter is on an academic scholarship at Northern Illinois. So I would even tell people, even family members, sometimes people might not always get you, but you say, what, one of my favorite saying is only time will tell. I just said, no, I have to raise them this way. I have to expose them to certain things. And right now, my daughter is the president of the Black Student Union at Northern Illinois. In fact, she was the first female in the last over 20 years to hold that spot. So, just getting them involved and being involved in community is something that our family does, and it's just part of who we are. That's so having that balance of structure in your home, that discipline, I believe you're going to see great results with your family.
Mm. What about you, TC? Because I always commend you on your daughters, and your son, Turk. But it's your daughters are older, so go ahead. I just want to how do you balance like giving them what they need morally, and then still having, lack of a better word, a swag while they focus? So it is one thing to have them focus, but another thing to have a swag to them too, so they're not ostracized.
By me, I believe you gotta be firm with your kids in both ways, though. You know what I'm saying? If they do good at school,
That's right.
I'm the extra daddy. I'm buying whatever you want. You gonna get it.
Right.
I'm gonna bust my butt to get it for you.
Right.
I'm gonna be extra happy and all. And if you mess up, I'm gonna kick your butt. I'm gonna be extra mad, and I'm gonna wear you out. I'm just because I believe kids need to know that it's consequence to your actions out here in this world, and you don't have to whoop them all the time. That's not what I'm saying, but they supposed to know it's consequences.
That's right.
Because when they get out here in this world, you know, the woman your daughter gonna have to do a different talk to make somebody forgive her. You understand what I'm saying? She can't just come to like daddy or mom. They can talk to us. The boys, they're in trouble. Our young black men, they have to know its consequences. Period. Because that's how they're gonna be treated out here in these streets. They're not gonna give them a pass. And same with daughters. So I just feel like with kids, period, you have to be who you say you are with them at all times.
That's right.
If you love them, but you gotta let them know that same passion will turn on your butt if you don't do what I tell you.
Go
That's
ahead.
all. I just feel and if you're consistent with it,
That's right.
they gonna understand. They gonna because I tell them in the door, you're not gonna win this one. Because if you mess up, I guarantee you, I'm gonna get you. It's like no way around it.
One of my biggest regrets as a father is I told my youngest son Justin. I said, "Hey, Justin, man, you get straight A's, man. I'm gonna buy you a game for every A. You know those PlayStation games." I didn't know this dude was gonna turn into a straight A student for the rest of his life, man. I still feel bad about saying that. I had to stop breaking it down, like daddy ain't got
no money, man.
Ain't got no money. I want to switch gears a little bit. First of all, I want to ask you.
I got a question though, Bob, before we get off this.
Go ahead.
Real quick. You know, we talk about Patriots. I have a question for them, for my people out there. What made you decide? I mean, I understand everybody have a vision, and I'm not knocking none of those. People say they had a guy that talked to them on the couch and all that stuff. So I'm not knocking nobody.
Sure.
Well, what made you decide like you are the type of person that's supposed to lead?
Okay.
Because when you become a pastor, it's more than just talking and getting people together.
That's right.
You also, unfortunately, you looked upon as holier than thou in people's eyes. So just keep it real, right?
Well, that's if you present yourself that way,
right? But they're gonna look at you as a pastor.
Well,
it's a standard,
right?
It's a standard.
It's a standard.
Right.
But let me break some things down, as if I'm just talking to my congregation.
Yep.
There's no perfect people in this world, and I'm probably one. I know I'm the type of pastor. I'll tell you my background. In fact, I use my background to help minister to other people. Okay, because there's a lot of times that, once a person accepts their calling, they kind of do walk into that role like, oh my God, I've always had wings and I've never done nothing and I've never even gotten mad. Well, that's not me. I'm going to tell you, there was days, where I was two-fisted. I had Heineken in one hand and Hennessy in the other hand. There was also days where we did other things. And when people say, wow, you're telling us things that makes sense to us, and I can't tell you how many times people have come up after a sermon. They say, wow, I understood everything you were saying, and I'm versed in the scriptures. I'm homiletically sound. I can defend my faith, but at the same time, it's about reaching a person where they're at. And so many times people get to a certain level in life and they forget where they came from. And then now all of a sudden nobody's even, nobody can approach them. But what really led me to know that this was my call. Number one, let me just say it, because I know we have a great listening audience. I'm also an administrator for the state of Illinois. All right. Against all the myths that's out there, I got this little time right now. So I want to share this. Sure. Little do people know 85% of all pastors in the United States still work a traditional job. These are the ones who are called. These are people who do it for free. These are the people who do it because this is what God has laid on their heart to do. We don't do it for money. We don't do it for fame. We don't do it for fortune. We do it because this is the calling that God has placed on our heart. And if I can help one family, our motto at our church is better individuals lead to better families. Better family leads to better communities. And when I can see a group of men go out every weekend and clean up the neighborhood or where we're at every weekend. We've been doing this for the last 8 years. When I can impact their lives, I've married, just this past October was my 36th couple that I've married. When I see lives change, when I see friends I went to high school with ask me to marry them, ones I ran with, the ones that know that, and I say, wow, look at where God has brought my life to. That keeps me going, because I'm not going to be buried by my past. You shouldn't be buried by your past. You shouldn't be buried by your past. And a lot of times that's what keeps us from going forward and doing bigger things, because we say, man, people know me for all these other things. Well, guess what? That's not who you are. That might have been what you've done, but that's not who you are. And that's how I looked at it. I'm a son of a pastor, but that wasn't it. I was just going to church at that point in time. And I tell people all the time, I said, listen, it's more to it than just going to a church service. I live this every day of my life. I go to the barbershop, they laugh. They like, you're a different type of pastor, because you just like one of us. I said, I am just like one of you. I'm not. Yes, we have a calling on our life, but at the same time, if you don't recognize you're a servant, then guess what? You're going to start feeding into that. Now all of a sudden I'm big. I'm this or that. You will see me just like and now the brothers at the church, they like, Pastor, you don't got to be out here cleaning up. I said, listen, y'all know me. If you don't do it, I'll do it. Because if that's the prayer burden in my heart, I'm gonna do it. Because I don't like, trashy neighborhoods and different things like that. So when you riding into our church, I want you to feel like, wow, this is a nice neighborhood. Somebody throws something out, we picking it up. Why? Because we changing that atmosphere, you see, and that's the key. So I accepted it because, number one, being a leader, I was a leader in the corporate arena. I was a leader when I was in the military. But, the Lord said, I have some other things that I want you to do. People are searching. People are in need of somebody that's going to tell the truth to them, and you got all these people that's giving you all these mixed messages. And what we do, we have a foundational teaching at our church. I tell people when they come, I said, I always tell them we're the Tim Duncans of churches. We're not flashy, but we're going to make it to the Hall of Fame. We're fundamental. We're going to give you that structure. So you'll be like, wow, I actually understand the Bible now, versus just, man, somebody telling you, oh, you're going to be rich, you're an overcomer, no, it's, you have to live in this word. You have to understand how then apply that word to your life. And that's what I do. And I love doing it, so.
That's a good answer. Well,
thank you. I appreciate it.
I wanted to switch gears a little bit, because I remember a few years ago speaking with, I think it was Devin Keys, and he let me know that you were at the time running for alderman.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about that spot in your past, about being an alderman. What happened with that situation?
That was over 20 years ago, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, that was in the late 90s. Point in time, I was really active politically, still very active politically. I'm an independent. I don't have an allegiance to any party. In fact, I believe this next generation, they're going to demand that. I think so many people are just, they're fed up with party politics. And it's not, I got good friends that are Democrats, Republicans, but even they'll tell you behind closed doors is that, you got fringes, on both sides, on the left and on the right, that are running these parties now. So everyday people's voices is getting drowned out. So I believe you're going to see a movement, in the near future where independents are going to start really taking, some offices and really be about the people. But, I was young, man. I was in my 20s when I tried that. Didn't know what I was doing, but I won first selection on the ballot, and but didn't understand how the whole thing worked. I was challenged eventually with signatures, and even though they originally ruled that I had enough signatures to stay on the ballot, literally they hit the gavel and said, "Okay, you got enough signature." The lawyer for the alderman I was running against kept arguing. And this is after they hit the gavel. They said, well, okay, they took off 3 more, which took me under the threshold. I said, I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. How could you say it's over? So that kind of taught me that the politics of things is you have to really know when you get into politics, you have to get into it for the right reasons. And honestly, in my 20s, I probably wouldn't have understood it enough. And that's why so many people go into it and they get turned. Yeah. But that was the gist of that. I just felt that I could make a difference, but I'm glad I didn't, because over this last 20 plus years, I've learned so much about life and about how to really hold elected officials accountable. I challenge our members in our church to, who's your state representative, who's your state senator, who's your congressman, who's your, know who they are, understand what their role is, and then that way you can hold them accountable. I live in the village of Westchester, and I've worked, on boards and different things over the years. And when you have an opportunity to do something for your community that helps, whether it's getting a street done, lights put up, that's what the political process really is about. So it was never for me about, being recognized or famous. It was really just about, wanting to be a public servant. And that's what I do now. I work for the legal department for Department of Children and Family Services. So I'm always, it's always about helping someone else.
That's got to be an interesting job.
Very interesting.
All right, man. I know you got story after story on that job. In children's services, it reminded me of a time I ran for a committee man at Ford. Okay. And when you work at Ford, it's a political atmosphere. So it's not like, oh, you ran for a little committee man job at Ford. The union is big business, so to speak. So, but I lost to this popular guy. Okay. And I remember feeling some kind of way. So, I felt some kind of way. So I took the buyout. But I want to piggyback off something you said. Okay. When I reflect and be honest with myself back then, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And I wasn't ready because I still had a price.
Okay.
So that kind of uniquely made me unqualified, really. And nobody else could see that except me. If you said the right thing, I might ship my little vote. And I didn't realize that I had that little, glitch in my integrity at the time. Okay. But, I was calling myself presenting to be against that type of talk. But really, I was kind of looking for the right cubby hole to fit in so that my influence could grow. So it made me unqualified in a way that I didn't see at the time. Right. So I just wanted to know, in that loss, what is it about yourself that you learned that changed you and kind of like what you would call weeded out the little, your price?
Well, that's a great question. The thing that I learned over this last 20 years is, number one, that I wasn't ready. I did not know actually what an alderman did. No, that sounds funny, right? Do you know how many elected officials out here never studied their position? They don't know what a state representative do. The idea of me being a state rep or a state senator sounds good, but they never actually went and did any studying on it before running for the position. So once they actually get elected, the party takes them over. The party tells them what to do, what to say, where to go, how to vote. So instead of them being about their constituency base, they only are reflecting what the party tells them to do. I had a person wanted me to be a campaign manager for her. And I asked her flat out, I said, okay, tell me what homework you've done on this position. She's like, excuse me? I said, what makes you, why are you going to be qualified? I didn't think about that. And if you talk to a lot of people, they don't really, especially with party politics, basically party politics, you go up the ranks, basically what you've done for other people. So after a certain point in time, they say, hey, Bob been cool. You know what? We're going to go and make him a committeeman. Bob might not have a clue on what being a committeeman is about.
That's right.
But what we going to do now we have Bob in our corner because we get to tell him everything he needs to do. He benefits because he gets the check. But at the same time, he really is not representing that position. So that's one of the things. If if and when I ever run for another position, I will study that position in great detail and know it. Because if I go to the constituents, they need to know I understand what's going on. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned. And also, I wouldn't run off of emotion. You have to run off of understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, but with all of you get an understanding. And that is the base verse of our church. Get an understanding. Don't just do stuff off emotion. Because I was running for all of them, I would just run off emotion. I was mad. Yeah. And I said, I can do better than this. And but I had no plan. I would have got in there. I wouldn't have known what I was doing. Yeah. And guess what? Now you become part of the problem versus someone saying, hold on, no. I need to be disciplined. I need to have a platform. I need for people to then hold me accountable. And that's one thing, even as a pastor, I tell people, hold me accountable. Holding an elected official accountable, that's really up to us. People say, man, all politicians are crooked. They don't have to be. In my village, I've gone to them. I've gotten streets done. I've gotten different things done in the community. Why? Because I spoke up. If you speak up, most of the time you're going to see some good results. Might not happen overnight. But if you continue to talk, they will hear you. So that's my biggest thing over these years is that now, if I ever run again for anything, it's going to be off knowledge base. It's going to be well organized, to the point that when I do step out, people will be like, wow, this person here is really serious because he's actually trying to engage us in the political process. So.
Go ahead, TC.
Well, you already know what I'm finna do. We put the gloves on in here, so I gotta ask you another question.
Let's go.
I'm take it personal, but I gotta ask you for the people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I ask every pastor or that come on the show the same question, so you're not gonna be excluded.
All right.
So you're a Christian, right?
I'm a believer.
You a believer?
Yes.
Oh, that's different.
Well, I'm a believer.
Okay.
Christians was given a name that wasn't even given by Jesus Christ. But anyway, I'm a believer.
That's what I was. You know what now? You see this? You're the only person asked like that. The only one. Okay. And I'm so proud of you.
Oh, okay.
You don't understand the inside.
Okay. All right.
Carry on, Bob. Carry on, Bob. I ain't even gonna hit him. I ain't even gonna hit him. You crazy, man. He answered right.
Oh, he was trying to trick you.
No, but it's just what he's saying is we have been asked that question. We've been doing the show for a year, man.
Right.
And he asked that question and it's all, it just nobody ever prepared like you was.
Well, I mean, if people, if you actually look in the Bible, you won't find the word Christian. Mm-hmm. We're believers. We're disciples of Jesus Christ. And Christian was given was given a name for the people who were following Christ. So that didn't come from, our Lord and Savior.
Right.
So I'm a believer. I'm a disciple. That's what I always tell people when they say who you are, because when you look at the term Christian, man, there's so many people fall up under that banner.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people have such a skewed view of quote unquote Christianity. Because they say, you look at this group over here, they doing this group over here doing that. But at the same time, if you are a believer, that means you're believing in this word of God and you're applying that word to your life. That's different. I know a lot of folk who say they Christian. Believe me, I do. But once again, my job is to shine a light to them. And that's what, unfortunately, it's always the ones that do something that they shouldn't be doing that wind up getting the most pub for it.
I knew right away your answer was going to impress her. I was listening to your answer. I was like, you ain't got no comeback for this. I know. Like, TC ain't got no comeback for this one. I want to ask you this question. Okay. So since we on this subject, you made me change the order of my
man. I love that.
Hey, but check this out, because I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
Would it be fair to say that the Republican Party seems to have a grasp on, I guess, the moral heartbeat of America in a way, but in a certain sense, they carry a contradictory type of tone of non-inclusive nature that could be felt as racism.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, you have to go back and go back in history and understand how this Republican Party became the Republican Party that we know today. Up until 1964, Southern Democrats, okay, these are the ones. I mean, the reality of it is a lot of these people were racist. They did not want the Civil Rights Act to be brought into law. When Lyndon Johnson introduced that and it passed, they switched parties because the Republican Party at that time under Barry Goldwater was free marketers. This is their thought process. They say, well, even racism will work itself out eventually in the free market. So even though the Republican parties per se at that time wasn't, all about racism, they took in all those Southern Democrats who flipped parties because, the history of our country up until that time, most African Americans was voting Republican until the Civil Rights Act. So it's only been 50 plus years that you've had this shift. So there are a lot of people that's out there in the Republican Party. They talk morally. Let me say this. A lot of people can talk morally, but some of the things that I heard coming out of this election, it really grieved my heart because, some people have put so much emphasis on a human being. But at the same time, you say that you believe in the Lord and Savior. I tell people all the time, if I didn't know Christ for myself and I looked at some of the representation, I wouldn't be a believer. But once you know him for yourself, that's something different. But yes, they roll that because they say, okay, this is going to be our niche. They didn't want to take up civil rights issues. So the Republican Party actually said, okay, they took some ideas and they threw them in a bucket. This actually happened. You can do the history on this. And they pulled out abortion. They pulled out abortion and they said, this is going to be, we're going to champion the rights of the unborn. And that's been what they've been pushing, for decades now. But what it is that, they say they're pro-life. A lot of them aren't pro-life. You're against abortion because you don't have a problem when a 13-year-old gets killed in the street. If you were pro-life, you would be pro-life from the cradle to the grave. So there's a lot of mixed messages. That's why I say I believe that the days of the political parties are coming to an end. There's a season for everything. And people, when we've identified people now, are you a Democrat, you a Republican? And literally people will change their tone with you just based on what you said versus even listening to that person. But just from a moral perspective, you can talk all day long. It's how you really live. Case in point, it was a state representative in Oklahoma recently who was very against the gay and lesbian movement. Only to come to find out they caught him in a hotel with a young man. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people are living a life, they're living a lot. So, no political party has the quote unquote grasp on morality. This is an individual thing. And that's why I love being an independent, because I can look at issues. I look at what the people say, and then I try to vote as close to that as to my belief as possible. So,
let me ask you this, okay, about the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Would it be fair to say that the Democrats, they seem to have a humanitarian outreach, a grasp on the humanitarian outreach? They seem to have that down pat, but they don't seem to have an absolute truth when it comes to morality.
You said something. They seem to. Okay, both parties do this. They play the emotional game. Let me explain something.
I want to say this before you move on. Okay. Because it seemed like something was getting ushered in with the Democrats. Mm-hmm. Something that could be questioned. We can question the moralities of what was finna happen in America. Okay. Just because it seemed like there's no absolute truth. Okay. Everything goes. Okay. If you was born with 3 arms, you were supposed to have 3 arms. Okay. So I just want.
Well, yeah, that's a viewpoint that a lot of people are taking today. But just like that, a party has an agenda, not an individual, a party. And so, the Democratic Party have said for years, and let me say this to people, and you can go do the research. You can go on the FEC website right now and look up any Democrat elected official, and you will see the type of money that they take from special interests. They tell you that they're fighting for you. They tell you that, I'm the champion of you. But my congressional member right now takes 90% of the money that's sitting in their coffers right now comes from special interests. But they're a Democrat. So once again, they tell you these things because most people don't go and they don't do research, and they just say, okay, you say something loud enough and long enough, people just tend to believe you. So both parties have a real issues to me. All right. One tries to hold themselves out like they, God is in our party. The other party says, like you say, everything goes, God, everything. Listen, there's right and wrong. We know that. We don't get into that. I tell people all the time, I said, listen, you cannot believe in something that don't make it not true. You cannot believe in gravity and walk to the top of this building on your way down. You can still be saying, I don't believe in gravity. I guarantee you're going to hit this ground. So, with that being said, the parties in and of themselves, I just think they have a lot of work that they would have to do to get back right. But money, that's your biggest key right now to these parties is money. And, they believe in a philosophy where you get a lot from a few people. Public officials should believe in a philosophy where you get a little from a lot of people. And if you did that, you would engage more people in the process, and that's really what I see the future of politics. Because I'm optimistic. I'm not gonna just think that this is over and we just need to curl up in the fetus position and just let these people do whatever they need to do. No, I don't believe in that. I believe that, while there's breath in our body, we can make a change.
That was a strategy President Obama and Bernie Sanders sort of
they engage everyday people, and it works.
Yeah, small donations.
Yes,
small donations from a lot of people, which made his war chest like I think President Obama's.
It was a
ridiculous. It was like what?
Because he engaged people in the process. People want to be part of this process, but then once the election is over, what happens? People normally disappear. They don't know. A lot of people don't know what their representatives are supposed to do. And if you don't know what they're supposed to do, then you just kind of let them do whatever they want. And if you keep reelecting them, then they're saying that's their evaluation. All of us who work jobs, even if you own business, you want to get your employee evaluation. At that point, you're telling the employee either they need to step up or they need to do better. Well, if we keep reelecting people, what did we just told them? Oh, you're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. And so that's why, for me, when I hear people say, our politicians ain't going to change. Well, they're not going to change unless you change. Because there are other districts out here. There are other communities out here. They get you out. You don't do the job. You didn't vote a particular way. They get you out. So we don't have to always feel like we can't make a difference. We can.
What's the difference in the momentum of being an independent?
Independent is a freedom. I don't vote in primary elections because primaries are for political parties. But independence is a freedom to really search out the candidates. How many of us have gone into a ballot box? And I'm just gonna be real here. Can y'all say y'all keep real? All right.
Yeah, we do.
You've gone into a ballot box, and you just look at somebody and you say, "That name sound good." That's how I ain't heard nothing bad about that. So, and we wind up putting people in office. To be honest with you, because we busy, we got things going on in life, and so a lot of time we don't put the effort into it that we should. So, an independent, I'm looking at all the candidates. I'm going on their websites. I'm printing out. My wife will tell you, we sit down and we go through everything, and we have a discussion about it. I raise my children that way. Don't just give your vote away. People say, oh, your vote don't count. Now, when I hear somebody say that, I say, congratulations. They say, why you say that? Because you just been voter suppressed. It is a tactic that both parties use, whether y'all know this or not, that they literally want to depress a certain segment of the voting population before the election even starts. That's why you see politics so ugly. They say, and then people, man, they ain't gonna do nothing. That's called voter suppression. You're a registered voter, and yet and still you didn't vote. The last presidential election, 55% of people, 55% of registered voters voted. That means 45% of registered voters decide I ain't even gonna go vote because they ain't gonna make a difference anyway.
But you gotta also, if you're not gonna educate the people about the electoral college and things of that nature, if they see everybody voted on the naked eye,
Yeah.
for Hillary Clinton. She won a popular vote. You can't, until you educate those who don't know about certain things about that, then of course they're going to feel that way.
Sure. But once again, where's the civics classes in our school?
But that about to get to, they don't teach us on stuff like that, psychology and things that we need to know.
Right. But those are the things that I do believe we're going to see a change in the years to come, because you're exactly right. The Electoral College, the way our map is set up right now, the majority of Democrat people, they're in overly populated areas, meaning they saturated right here. Well, Republicans are all out in the plains and different things like that. So it's going to be hard for them to win that Electoral College. But I just, like I said, I'm looking at the future for independence. Somebody's going to step out at some point in time and do something and shock this country, and not be beholden to any party, and say, listen, we got to do what's right for the people of America. And I believe that. And so I'm going to keep praying about that and moving things forward until I see something like that.
So is this a fair question? Because this is a statement we've been living off of ever since I've been alive. We should separate church from state. Well, is that a fair? Is that a realistic question of expectation?
I mean, in the actual governing body, when you're talking about, I think when people think that when they say separate church from state, they feel that a pastor can't talk about politics. What you're talking about when you say separate church from state, we're not a theocracy. All right. A theocracy is a governing body that is actually built off of the word of God. We're not a theocracy. So we're already a separation of church and state. So, but we should be able, as a private citizen, you see, as a private citizen, I should be able to speak my mind. I should be able to give my opinions on things, and so on and so forth. So there's already a separation of church and state. The Bible says, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, and render unto God the things that are God. So, I'm a citizen of the United States. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I believe in this country. You can get mad at me all you want to, but I believe in this country because I've been overseas. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of places out there. If you actually got to go see yourself, you'd be like, man, I'm going to take what I got at the house. We're not perfect. There's not a perfect country out here, but we have a lot that we can do. And that's what keeps me going, because I'm like, I've seen real starvation. I've seen that when I was over in Jordan and Egypt and Aqaba. I've seen babies literally dying of malnutrition when I was down in Honduras. I've seen mothers try to give their daughters to us as servicemen, wanting us to marry their daughters just so they can have a chance of coming to the United States. So when you've seen these things, it changes your viewpoint of things. And so a lot of time people who have never been any place, they say, man, America is this or that. Yeah, we got some issues. But I'm going to tell you, when you go other places, you'll begin to say, you know what, man, we ain't that bad off.
In closing, In closing,
okay.
You was talking to me about micro thinking and macro thinking, but I want you to talk about which one you are and what we can expect and how can we support what you do, and how to get in contact.
Well, I appreciate that. What I do, I'm a micro thinker, and what I mean by that is that too many times we look at problems and we want to solve everything. One of the things we did when we took over in pastoring down in Joliet, the area that we took over was known. It was blighted. It was known for dumping. It was known for trash and all of these things. So I'm a big believer in changing the atmosphere. And I believe in doing something that you can do, you and I can do. Well, you and I can go out and pick up trash. You and I can, cut grass. You and I can do things that government ain't got nothing to do with. So what I do, I say, okay, what can I actually do? Where can I see some successes? And so as we started that, we got houses torn down. We got the township, because we're in the township, we got the township to do their job. And once you do it, the whole atmosphere changed. Now that takes time. People who were, say, 20 years old, they only knew that area as one thing. But for the last 8 years, I think about this, and this always blessed me. For anybody who was born after we started doing that, they don't know that area like it used to be. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? That's how you change an atmosphere. So it's what you can do. Don't worry about it. And even if you got to do it by yourself for a while, just do it, because if that's heavy on you, then you'll be able to make a difference.
Control. How can we get in contact with you to support you real quick?
You can reach me at www.totalchristianlife.org. And go to our website. My email address is on there. Our church number is on there. You can follow us on Facebook at Total Christian Life on Facebook. So great being with you guys.
Give it up for Tracy Jennings in the building, man. Thanks for listening to Joe Jack with Bob and TC on IntellectualRadio.com.
In this corner we have the folk body snatcher.